Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on, good question, May 3rd, 2025 at approximately 9 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's journey to remind people that working together, we can make this, try that in English. We can make this a better world for virtually. I really wish I would quit doing that. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every decision I make by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have worked for literally thousands of other people with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. Now, before we get into it, we have operating in the background Storm. He's the one that makes sure all the tech works as best he can. And of course, with me, that can be a challenge and a half. Okay. He's also the one that makes certain that problem children are gone before they become a problem. This said, if somebody is coming in here looking to that has created a problem in the past and is just trying to change their ways, they're welcome to stick around. But if you're coming in trying to sneak in and create a problem, rest assured Storm will know who you are and make short work of the problem. And before anybody starts thinking he's a bully, I asked him to do it. Okay? Because the only other option is things get out of hand and I just shut the stream down. Now, we do have Operation Shutdown. You are in with the gold. And I'm hoping things are going well for you. We are literally on the verge of changing a whole pile of things around all at the same time. Now, to this end, okay, there's something you guys have to realize. I've got another book coming out. Now, today's topic is the educational value of entertainment. What I found is you look back over the years, there used to be tabletop games that families played together. Okay, things like in this game I honestly never did like. Okay, I never really did enjoy Monopoly myself, which probably would have been a good idea to take to it. And BLB, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are actually in with the silver today. You know, the neat part about it, when you take a look at the old tabletop games, you take a look at this neat thing called Monopoly. Most of you probably don't recognize it. Okay, Monopoly was an entertainment game. It was a tabletop game that taught you economics, taught you how to spend. Okay, now I can teach you how to spend in a hurry, but I've also written books to accommodate that and help you bring things under control. Now, we used to play chess. Pure strategy. It's a game of war, really, but it's tactical entertainment. Payday, I could go on with the list forever. The one I took to was Dungeons and Dragons. And what that has done is enabled me to really picture the way my world is right now. And I mean the material world here. You'll notice my dresser here is now, the top is now clear. Okay. And the reason for that is because as in gaming, I've been building an empire. Actually, I asked my game master one day, I said, I gotta ask you. Oh, there we are. The operation goes, the government can teach you how to spend in a hurry. No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Yo, the problem there is the government talks about, you've got to have a balanced budget. Now, growing up, I never paid attention to money, and in a lot of ways, I still don't. Okay, but I know how to now, and I will tell you, you desire to build and to change something, get a creative outlook in your head. Okay, take a look at what you're doing to enjoy yourself. Sports, guys, The theory is playing sports, enjoying yourself, playing hockey, playing football, whatever it is you play. And I'm talking about physical sports. Can teach you pull a complete blank on that. Teamwork, that's the word I was looking for. It can. Unfortunately, people are so caught up, it seems, in instant gratification. I gotta be better than the next guy. I'll tell you, there's only one person you really have to get better than, and that is the guy or the gal in the mirror. Okay. Now, when I started looking at Dungeons and Dragons, I was only 13 years old. But since then, I have come to understand a few things. Number one, people do not plan to fail. Nobody that I'm aware of plans to fail. Okay, but staggering numbers fail to plan. And yes, BLB, Dig Dug was a tabletop game way back. And don't kid yourselves, the little games that children played are mind-bogglingly useful. Okay, if I recall Dig Dug properly, it was kind of like Hungry Hippo, I think, which teaches eye-hand coordination and reflex. Okay, all of these things work in order to teach you how to function. But what they don't teach, what a game doesn't teach, and this is where the people teaching you the game really have to step up to the plate and go, okay, you're playing the game. It is not about who wins or who loses. It is about how much fun you have doing it and whether you personally are getting better. Now, it's very tempting to change the rules. Okay, whenever you're looking at a game of chance, it's very tempting to change the rules. Now, with Dungeons and Dragons, or to change, to cheat, to modify things. Now, I do my best not to. Okay, when I was younger, it was another problem altogether. But when I lose a character and I start a new one, I learned how not to get overly attached. Because the luck of the die roll, the worst one I did was I went through 8 characters in one night. First level characters do not do well. That is the same as a first year business person. Something you have to learn. And I didn't. Okay. Here I am, almost 62 years old. As in next week, I will be. No, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks? Well, technically, it'll be 8 days. 10 days. Now for that. Anyway, you learn that you take a look at what you're aiming for. Okay. And playing, enjoying different forms of entertainment. And by the way, here's the thing. I should qualify. Yes, watching videos, watching other people play games is enjoyable. Playing video games can be enjoyable. But I will caution you, the reality of it is you learn more by getting physically involved in the game. And this is where, and I'm not good at this one, this is where sports can come in real handy. Because you get physically active. The best I can tell you, Operation, is my fiance is going to be up here. So we're certainly going to go to dinner. But other than that, I just don't know. I figure she's coming up for a couple of weeks. So we'll be celebrating our birthdays together. But exactly what we're up to, I know we're going to end up going out for dinner. Other than that, I have no idea. Okay, but then my birthday's never been something I planned a lot on. I have looked at the idea of laying it out and creating all kinds of neat little things, puzzles and what have you. But one thing I am working on, okay, and this is the thing about finding some sort of entertainment. Okay. I went out today. Now, I've talked to you guys before about charity. Okay. Now, charity is not entertainment. Okay. But I have used, while I've been playing D&D, my characters end up with more money than they can spend. So, this one I'm running right now, aside from what he's... Oh, my fan died. Not surprising, it's got a battery. My character ends up with way more money than he can actually spend. So, he is actually starting to turn things around and just hand it over to people that need it. Well, today, a couple of days ago, okay, I was going through a dollar store, and a woman there told me she'd been homeless for 2 years and hadn't had anything to eat. So I did exactly what I keep telling you guys I'm going to do. I took her over to Wendy's. Not a great place to go, but it was convenient. Okay. Bought her a meal and bought her a second one to send home with her. Okay. This is why I say when I talk about what I'm looking at and the things I'm suggesting you do. Okay. This is why I say, if I'm telling you that I recommend it, I'm already doing it. Now, find a game you enjoy. Okay, I will tell you, I enjoy tabletop gaming. From what I gather, and I don't do this one because I don't get along with computers, but it's not the same feel. But interactive online games, where there are open world games, can teach you the same thing. Now, understand, I learned how to communicate, how to talk to people at all over a gaming table. Okay, prior to gaming, I didn't talk to people. Okay, I really didn't. I did if they came and asked me a question, but there was never any interaction. But D&D, between D&D and a number of other games, I learned how to communicate with people. I learned all kinds of odds and ends pieces of information, things that some of you will learn just because you're curious. Okay, I was never curious enough to pick up a book and read it. Okay, but I have been doing that. And on that little note, and I'm not doing this for entertainment, this is the Bible I grew up with. Now, you'll notice there's a little orange line here. That's all that's left from that orange line down. I do strongly recommend that instead of just watching other people play games or watching movies, I strongly recommend picking up an actual book and reading it. Okay, it enables the mind to wrap to wrap the picture up, and the more senses you can involve, the better off you are. Christine, how you doing? You are in with the bronze. Hope things are going well on your end. Now, because of the fact that if you do what you enjoy, it no longer feels like work. I'm telling you that from practical experience. This is one of the reasons why I write as much as I do. Number one, I enjoy writing. Okay, there's actually 3 reasons for it. One, I have fun with writing, which is why I'm now racking off, and let's see. She's here for 21 days. There's 60. All we got to do is 3 races a day. Okay, with a little bit of luck, as long as we stay focused, we should be able to rack off the 60 races in Races of the World second printing. Okay, I enjoy writing. Not an artist, but I can write. Okay, find a game that you really enjoy. If it's a team game, this is great. Gives you a way to learn how to socialize. Okay, the other thing you got to remember with entertainment is as long as you're engaging as many senses as you can, you will find you learn a lot more. But you always I always recommend go after either something you know you enjoy or something you don't know whether you enjoy. Putting yourself into a so-called entertainment field is, in my opinion, if you're not enjoying it, it's not necessarily a good idea. Because I will tell you, people say, hey, go out and skate, and it's a lot of fun. I got bad news for you. I really don't go skating. I got a bad leg. This does not make skating enjoyable. But whenever you're playing a game, as long as you're enjoying it, find something you can learn with it. Even simple games, and yes, we're going back into the dark ages, back before computers became a major thing. Okay, but they do have electronic versions. Okay, when you take a look at, there was a game, and I don't know what it was called, but it was a matching game. You take all of the playing cards, flip them all upside down on the table, lay them out, and now what you're doing is you're learning memory. It's a great game for kids. Okay, as a matter of fact, in all fairness, it's a great game for adults because it does help you build your memory. And I'm telling you, when you're younger, things seem to hold. And I'll put that on a very broad scope. Because even when I was a kid, my memory didn't hold that well. Kind of an odd setup, really, from that end. Oh, there we go. Storm says that was called concentration. Okay, the game where you spread the cards out and then try and remember where they are. There are electronic versions of it. Okay, and I strongly recommend. Oh, yeah, didn't concentration have that funny little bubble in the middle? Kind of like Trouble in many of the other games for rolling dice. So I mean, any of these, and we've gotten so far away from the learning process in today's world, the computer does almost everything if you ask it to. Okay, and I've lost a lot of my memory. A lot of what I used to do instinctively, not the least of which was my finances. Okay, when I was tracking books on a spreadsheet, I used to do it. I was going to say with my eyes closed, but then I couldn't write on the paper. But I used to do it without any problem at all. Now I make really stupid maneuvers. Okay, because of the fact that I wasn't using those muscles. And this is why it's time to really pull away from the instant gratification. Start looking at the one person you really should be competing with, the guy or the girl in the mirror. Okay, that's the one to work on. That's the one to beat. That's also the one that benefits every time you successfully do something new. Okay, one of the biggest things I found with life on the whole is as long as you're learning something and you're enjoying learning it, you'll hang on to it better. If you're having trouble learning something, and this applies to even if you're going to school, okay, talk to the teacher, see if there is an enjoyable way that can make learning a little bit more interactive. And I don't care what grade you're in. I don't care if you're in university. Finding a creative way to learn, okay, is an excellent method. Now, I will tell you, creatively testing out chemicals is a bad idea without guidance. Okay, it really is a bad idea. Not to say I didn't do it, just that it was a bad idea. One of the big things that we have to realize is when you're looking at the reality of your life, okay, entertainment, enjoyment, if you can relax, you'll learn faster. Okay, and this is the neat thing. Okay, now even when it comes to interacting with people from a relationship standpoint, and there are games on the internet where you can learn how to communicate with people. Okay, where you can submerge yourself into an online game. But I'm warning you of one little detail. Do not make the mistake of forgetting about real life. Okay, talking about all the things and doing things in game time in entertainment that you're enjoying. This is great. Okay, this is fantastic. But don't forget, real life takes place. Okay, like I looked at the list of stuff I've got here. And of course, this is now this is simply an organizational tool. But I figure if I'm really careful with it, in the 2 weeks that Kira, my fiance, is up here, we should be able to get a lot accomplished and possibly get 2 more books out in print. Okay. No, we're not going to be strictly working. I refuse to do that. Quite frankly, keep telling people I'm lazy, and I don't think that's quite the case. I just get bored easily. So what I've done now, I've made it sort of a game to take a look at the way my office is and go, how can I straighten it out? How can I eliminate things? And I will tell you, there's 2 things on that shelf, on that shelf over there, that will be moved within the next couple of days. I just got to figure out where I'm going to put them. Because even that looks crowded to me at this point. I'm no longer interested in things looking cluttered and crowded. Okay, I'm just not that interested in it anymore. So what I am looking at is changing the way the world is running for me and finding a way, like I've been laying it out on paper with my D&D game, with the D&D campaigns I'm playing in, on how do you get organized, how do you enjoy it, and granted, D&D, you've got the advantage. Any of the online games or any of the tabletop games where they're role-playing, you can kill people without getting into legal trouble in the real world. And before any genius jumps on that, no, in all the years I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, which at this point is June will make it 50 now, we'll make it 49 years, okay, of playing Dungeons and Dragons. In all of that time, I have never once heard of anybody even remotely hinting that they figured out how to mumble a few words and cast a fireball. But I will tell you, in the gaming world, this is a great way of eliminating obstacles. But find something you enjoy. Now, this said, I am working on a couple of things myself that I'm hoping will bring some enjoyment to the people out there. As you know, I write in multiple genres. Okay, it was suggested a while back that I write one of the interactive game books where you literally read it paragraph by paragraph, and at the end of each paragraph or the end of each page, you get to make a decision. Okay, and that's how your character grows. Now, I've already started it. Okay, but what I'm doing is building the game, building the one path first. Then I'm going to give a whole pile of different routes, and you get to figure out how. Haven't quite figured out how I'm tying it all together, but I'm looking for a way to not only find a route whereby there is a real world benefit to winning it, to finishing the puzzle. Okay, I've got an idea in my mind, and when I write the book, I'm going to incorporate some of the ideas, whereby and it's just an idea, and I'd love to know what you guys think of it. I'm going to be putting the book together, and when somebody figures out the answer to a puzzle and sends it to me, it'll literally be the first person that figures it out. Okay, I'm going to work out something that will come back to them in the real world. In this way, I can take writing from an entertainment standpoint and give it a real life application. Okay, I just have to be a real life benefit, because what I have found is that people on the whole, if there is a quantifiable benefit, they're more likely to do something. And let's face it, if I'm going to tell you that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to do what I can to find a way to make that happen. But I'm only one person. And I keep an eye on the number of subscribers we've got on here. Okay, right now we got 674. And I am curious, just because that's me. We go 674 times 60. And we're looking at just over 40,000 people that are getting reached. I'm looking for ways to make that happen. Whoa, how you doing? You are in with honorable mention. Hopefully things are going well on your end. Now, I don't know what I'm doing with the book, what I do with this, with the interacting. I do know I've got an idea in my head, and it's going to take a little while to pull it together, especially given the number of other books I'm looking at. But the reality of it is, you find something you enjoy. Okay? Now, there's a lot of things that people have done. Some people enjoy fishing. Myself, I tried it when I was a kid. Found, because I used to do the idea of catch and release. But I grew up on the east coast of Vancouver Island, and we used to fish for bullhead. Now, bullhead are only a little fish, about 4 inches long, right? But as a 9-year-old, that's a thing. Now I'll tell you, I was taught that was fun. It really was for a while. Then I ended up catching a 3-foot hammerhead shark. And I mean, I'm 9 years old, and this thing, I kid you not, had a head on it that wide, like that was shoulder width. I'm looking at this thing going, because the bullhead caught the fish first. Then the shark caught the bullhead. Right. So when I pulled this thing up, they are a fascinating creature. And I do enjoy looking at nature and seeing what it's up to. Okay. I wouldn't go out in the woods looking for it, because I get lost way too easy. But if you enjoy going for a walk, see what you can do about learning about the local flora, the local fauna. Okay, and for those of you who don't know what that is, that's your animals and your plants. Learn about them. Okay, it is definitely, in my opinion, better to get out of the house and learn than it is to sit in your room staring at the computer. Okay, because there is nothing like first-hand, hands-on experience to learn how to do something. Okay, this includes such things as, like, I'm no sports person, okay, but I have contemplated the idea of going over to the park next door, across the street from us, and simply sinking a basketball. Simply because it teaches coordination. And Lord knows I could use getting into better shape. The way I am right now, I'm not happy with my shape, but I am working on it. Although, I don't know about you, I find exercise boring on the whole. Now, there are some exercise units or exercise plans that can be very enjoyable, especially if you have a partner. But whatever you're doing, whatever you're aiming at learning, okay, find a way to enjoy it. if you're not enjoying learning, I will tell you from practical experience, and this includes dealing with well over 100,000 clients. Okay, I have certainly found that people that enjoy what they're doing or enjoy what they're learning remember it more clearly. Okay, and then of course we have the added bonus. As you're remembering it, you can cross-reference it and take these new skills and enter and utilize them in the real world. Now, where it comes to Monopoly, okay, now most of you have heard about it. And there's all kinds of different versions of it, but boils down to this. You've got X number of dollars, you've got to earn money in order to spend it. And the neat thing about Monopoly is it teaches you one thing very clearly. If you don't have the money, you can go into debt to get it, certainly by selling your properties. But just like in the real world, you start doing that, and all of a sudden, you're in trouble. And this is why I've written the books I have, because I've made the mistakes. Okay, now granted, most of them were genuine ignorance. For whatever reason, I didn't get the message. The reason I'm dealing with the self-help books, okay, is because I figure if I can get the idea out that this is what I ran into, this is what I did, and here's the pitfalls I ran into that I dealt with. If I can get those across to you, then absolutely, why not? I mean, let me ask you this. Which would you rather? Learn things the hard way, find out there's a hole in the floor that you're trying to walk down, or would you rather somebody point it out to you? Which one makes more sense from your end? When I'm looking at the different genres, okay, self-help, I definitely do. We've got 3 in print already, a 4th one as soon as it comes back from the printer. Likely a 5th one before the end of May, because it's already 3/4 written. Okay, and all the books I'm working with are literally because I enjoy writing them. But the important factor where it comes to enjoyment, okay, anything you're doing for entertainment, there's always something you can learn from it. Now, I don't use the term always very often, but I will tell you, some things you definitely would be wise to get an instructor. Skydiving, I hear, is a lot of fun. I can't see a reason to get out of a perfectly good aircraft. Okay, but if you're going to go skydiving, get an instructor to teach you. Because one wrong move, if you jump from 10,000 feet, you don't get a second one usually. There was one case where a guy did. And that's a long story in itself. But everything you do to enjoy yourself, okay, number one, if you're not enjoying it, you might look to something else. If you are enjoying it, remember, and this is going to sound weird, with Monopoly, it doesn't apply. Safety first. Okay. Now, yes, I do encourage you to push your limits. Okay, but whatever you're learning, find out what it can teach you. Monopoly, Payday, Careers, these are games that can teach you about finance. Okay. We used to have one called the stock market. Same idea. But here's the kicker for those of you that like playing the stock market. Now, I looked into it. I don't play it myself. Okay, but here's a little bit of advice for you. Okay. Now, I looked into it a lot. And what I found, they tell you, get the portfolios of the company you're looking at. Make certain if you're investing in a company, you like the company. Do not make the mistake of investing in something just because everybody else says it's a good thing. Yes, it can work out. More often than not, if you're not interested, you won't pay close attention to it. But here's the thing. They tell you, get the portfolio. Look at the portfolio. Look at what the company you're looking at investing in. What are they doing? What are their plans? Now, here's where they went sideways. They tell you, read up on what their plans are. Base your judgment on whether to buy or whether to sell on what the company is planning on. And this sounds really backwards. I know this, but they got it wrong. Okay. No, I don't play the stock market. No, therefore, I am not a millionaire based on stock market investing. But I will tell you they got it wrong. You don't worry about what the company is planning. Worry about, or more to the point, focus on what the other investors think the company is going to be doing. Because that's where you'll make your money. Okay. And I will tell you the other catch with stock market, and this is why, if you can find the game stock market, that's literally what it used to be called. I don't know whether it was Hasbro or something else or somebody else, but if you're looking at playing the stock market, now you can find an old game called Stock Market. It will teach you how to manipulate that. I believe, and I'm not 100% certain, but I believe there's a company called HSX. BLB, thank you. And BLB goes, Bass Backwards is a great song by Kurt Weill. I believe there is, I think it was called HSX, or Hollywood Stock Exchange. And it doesn't cost you a nickel. But if you're considering looking into playing around with the stock market, I strongly recommend you look this thing up. I used to play it and decided I just didn't have time for it because the computer kept crashing. But you guys can work with computers better than I can virtually guarantee it. Whatever you're looking at, every form of entertainment can teach you something. Okay, you take a look at pool. Now, what does pool teach you? Or for that matter, what does bowling teach you? Pool, bowling, come to think of it, golf teaches you the same thing. They all three of those teach you about geometry. Okay, about calculating angles, impact points, and arcs. Okay, now granted, if you got your pool ball doing arcs, I'm telling you, you're a way better player than most. But these are things that can teach you how to look at the world in a slightly different, more constructive fashion. But this is why find a way to enjoy what you're up to. Okay, very important from that standpoint, because the more relaxed you are, the more fun you're having. If you're learning while you're having fun, all of a sudden the game becomes really profitable and I'm talking about profit. I don't mean necessarily finance. Spiritually, it can be extremely profitable when you're learning while you're playing. Okay, I had a buddy years ago. He was a grease monkey. And for those of you that don't know the definition, this is somebody that lived, breathed, worked on engines. When I met him, his Harley was parked in the kitchen. No, his Harley was parked in the living room, and the engine from his Pontiac was on the dining room table. Okay, he lived and breathed mechanics. Okay, well, one day I come over to his place, and he was just bouncing off the walls. I said, "What's up? What's going on that you're so happy?" He says, "I never have to work another day in my life." I said, "What'd you do, win the lottery?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I got a job at a wrecking yard as a wrench." He says, I get paid to go there and pull things apart. He said, that's all I get. That's all I have to do. I just show up to play, and they're going to pay me. When you can find a job you enjoy, especially one that pays well, I'm telling you, take it. Whether or not other people believe it's a good idea is not the relevant concern. Whether you're content with it is where things become important. And there are many of you that have been told, oh, don't go into writing, don't go into singing, don't become an actor because you can't make money at it. And absolutely, the massive majority don't make money. Okay, but I'm telling you, there's a problem with that. Okay, what you've got to realize is it's a matter of marketing. And this is something I'm finally getting around to teaching myself. I used to rely on everybody else. And I will tell you, I have figured out a way, and I'm wondering if it actually applies at this point. Where are we? I need that. If we take that did not work. It's amazing how much time I try and do that. Anyway, I am finally figuring out a way to make things happen. But it takes literally finding what you enjoy. Now, one thing I did find with clearing out the office is as I got a small area opened up, all of a sudden the energy was running better. Entertainment. When I talk about this list, make certain you have on your list sometime during the day to relax. Okay, it is absolutely imperative that you do this. If you don't find a way to relax, stress will put you in the hospital. I mean, heck, it gave me a good sized stroke. Not necessarily a great thing. The important factor from your end is whatever you're learning. Maybe it's just like I took an interest, and bear in mind, I grew up, and I'll use that term loosely. I grew up essentially colorblind, but I'm now starting to look at how the color wheel, I talked to an artist one day to get a handle on how the color wheel actually works. And I'm telling you, there's a whole lot that can be said about the way that works. Okay, and this is why I've gone back to doing some of the things I did when I was a kid for entertainment. Now, no, I'm not giving up D&D anytime soon. But I am taking a couple of ideas, not the least of which is this interactive game. Okay, and once I get started on those, I will put them out. Now, let me ask you this. Not an interactive game, rather. An interactive book. Now, whether it's done whether it is done on digital or whether it's done on paperback, okay, I will find a way to bring that aspect into it so that people get, so you get yourself involved in the story. Okay, there will definitely, because I'm going to write it in such a way that the line itself, that the actual story, the actual outcome has been figured out. But then I'm going to envelop it in a whole pile of other stuff. And you get to figure out how to get through it. But let me ask you this, guys. And this is dead serious, that input would be really, really, really appreciated. But when I'm doing this, what holds your attention in a book? And for that matter, how much, like how deep of a book, or how quickly, especially in an interactive game, in an interactive book, how long do you feel it would be functional to take to actually finish the story? Okay, like, would you want it to take months to run, days to run, or weeks to run? This sort of thing. And any input would be appreciated. This is what I call market research. Open mouth, ask question, maybe insert foot. Okay, I mean, you think about it. When you look at diamonds, people are told diamonds are a girl's best friend. Well, diamonds are one of the most common rocks, from what I gather, on the planet. But marketing made it happen. Now, if you can find a way to enjoy what you're learning, you will end up finding out that not only do you learn faster, your memory improves, your stress level drops, your energy level climbs. Ultimately, your life turns around in a much better fashion. But it's up to you to make it happen. And I will tell you, all the prayers, all the positive thinking in the world isn't going to help a lot. Okay, if you don't get off your tail feathers. It's just one of these things that enjoyment. Now, I cannot tell you what's going to be fun for you. There's no way I can sit here and say, here's what's going to work and make you happy. All I can tell you is that by finding a way to enjoy yourself, okay, and again, and talk about doing things backwards. I'm sitting here, I got all kinds of problems where it comes to trying to run something on the computer on my own. But in your guys' opinion, what would make this stream more enjoyable? And sorry, I'm not about to start doing voice imitations. Okay, I have enough trouble with my own voice. But what sorts of things would make it more enjoyable, more attractive to other people? Because I'm telling you, we've got lots of people that play video games, and thousands of people watch them. We got thousands of people out there going, "Oh, you're all going to go to hell." I'm telling you, hell's a wonderful place. You should drop in sometime. And I can get away with telling you this because, in my experience, never mind my belief, in my experience, okay, you're not trapped anywhere, in hell included. Your own life and how you deal with it, it's a matter of perspective. Okay, I read something on Facebook just today, I think, maybe yesterday, but I was reading this, and the guy says, I've got the best life ever. He says, I get 3 square meals a day. I get to exercise when I like. I got all kinds of people that want to go to bed with me. He says, and it's a warm shelter. There's no problem at all. The only thing that I'm having a little trouble adjusting to is I'm not really used to the vertical bars on the door. Life is a matter of perception. Okay. And where it comes to entertainment, anytime that you can learn while you're having fun, it will stick to your brain a lot better. And again, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Okay. The reality of it is, it is time we change the way this world is going. I'm waiting for somebody else to figure it out isn't helping, because I don't know about you, but watching the ping pong game in a political arena just isn't that much fun. Okay. It is, however, fun watching the reaction of, sometimes I found it fun when I worked at the golf club, watching the Canadian geese, because they follow everybody along. But it literally boils down to how can you learn something new and enjoy the process of learning? Okay, I will tell you, when I was taking my bartending course, I wouldn't turn out a drink. We had to build a shooter and a highball. And to my way of thinking, I wasn't going to just go, mix these things together. I was brilliant. I had to test it. Well, needless to say, by the end of the night of testing, I was not in good shape. But I did come up with a couple of drinks I was quite happy with. Okay, and I mean happy with not drunk happy, but because I had accomplished it. And I'll tell you, the thing that has brought, I didn't know, I could never figure out what made me happy. I finally did. And that is finishing off a project. I cannot tell you how happy I was, or more to the point, I can't express it properly, how happy I was. Thank you, Storm. Appreciate that. When I turned Believe in Your Success and Follow Your Dreams over to my printer. I can't tell you how happy I was when that happened. Okay, because I put the effort into it, I put the care into it that I could, and it is now complete. Find something that you enjoy. If you enjoy crochet, absolutely do it. Oh, I don't have them here anymore. I used to have on my bed here, I used to have a couple of blankets that I personally crocheted. Now, I gave them to other people, I got them back. Okay, the one I got back was literally, I made one for my father and one for my brother. Both of them died. Okay, net result, I got the things back. But where it comes to entertainment, the more you can find that you can enjoy, and the more senses in any event, in any passage of entertainment, the more senses you can incorporate, the better off you are. Okay, and the faster you're going to learn, the better you're going to retain it. Now, whatever you do, don't just take my own word for it. Do your own research. Okay, and how about if we don't go with the idea of, oh, you're telling me falling down the stairs is going to hurt. Well, I don't believe you, so I'm going to fall down the stairs because it won't happen to me. I'll do it safely. Don't go falling down the stairs. Take people's word for it, at least as a caution. Okay, because I'm telling you, falling downstairs, I did a lot when I was a kid. Quite often courtesy of assistance. But, well, thank you very much for that, Christine. I've got one other one over here, and I've got to get it finished. And come to think of it, I really should. And that's this one here. Where is it? Right here. I really should get back on it, but after I had my stroke, I had to stop. I'm not going to pull it all the way out by any means. But this is a queen-size blanket. Okay, I'm in the middle of crocheting. But I stopped it 6 years ago when I lost the effective use of my left hand. Okay, now I'm nothing special about it. I don't do gloves. I don't do I don't do sweaters, this sort of thing. Okay. Operation. That's the easy part. The one I was most satisfied with was literally The Birth of the Wolf Pack, the first novel I wrote. Okay, but let me show you something here. I moved them over here because, well, frankly, it was getting things out of the way. Every one of these actually has a certain amount of importance to them. But in answer to your question, okay, The Birth of the Wolf Pack was a series I started writing in grade 10. Really happy when that happened, when I got it completed. But this one, I think this is probably the one that really caught my attention the most, oddly enough. Okay, and that is this one right here, Mr. Dreamcatcher. This story I wrote literally for my son. Okay, and I kid you not, from age 2 to a month before he turned 8, he wouldn't go to bed without hearing it. Okay, so this one brought me a lot of satisfaction when I actually completed it. Okay. The rest of them I've thoroughly enjoyed putting together. Yeah. Christine, I can't teach you how, but I can tell you there's a lot of good books out there that'll teach you. It's real simple. And in my opinion, a lot easier than working with knitting, because you get much more control over it, in my experience. Now, you may do well with the other, but and the thing with crocheting is it's got the added benefit. If you can, even if you just do a couple of potholders, or not potholders, but just placemats, as it were. If you can, when you can learn how to do something, like this is the other one that I got into, and again, it boils down to entertainment. And yeah, I know we're right down to the end. Now, I didn't make this, but I have been painting it. Okay, and again, this boils down to having the benefit of enjoying writing it. Okay, and we are down to the 5 minutes. Enjoying making it and being able to bring a smile to somebody else's face. Now, we are down to the last 5 minutes here. So what am I looking at? That's an excellent question. What did I do with it? I'm trying to figure out what the heck I did. Of course, I buried everything. That always makes it fun. What is today? Today is Sunday. No.
Keith, you wondering about tomorrow's show?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, I got it right here.
Perfect.
Tomorrow night, given the fact tomorrow is May the 4th, International Star Wars Day, you're doing alien technologies.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
So, tomorrow night, we are dealing with alien technologies. By the way, the technologies I'm talking about are literally documented in this, and this is Races of the World. Okay, we're going to be looking at technologies that are already inspired or existed. Okay, well, I've seen them anyway, so that works. But we'll deal with that tomorrow. That said, with it being down to the wire here, I really do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again. We will be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific, to just say, to talk about alien technologies. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.